Okay, I'm starting the YouTube live and the LinkedIn live. Right. Looks like we have 10 viewers on YouTube already, Marie. Okay. And for everybody already here, we'll be starting in 4 minutes. And I'm just working on getting the LinkedIn live started. Having a couple of issues with the LinkedIn live, but trying to see if I can figure that out real quick for us. Oh, Marie can't unmute, so we have to make her a host. She is a host. Odd. Marie, just message us in Slack. Okay, the LinkedIn Live is not going to work for us, so I think we should just go ahead and get started, and we'll have everyone route to YouTube Live. Yeah, absolutely. So I have a founding background. I founded three companies, mostly in the marketing technology and AI space. And then I moved into product development. Uh, that brought me from New Jersey to Virginia to Dallas to Austin, Texas. And I was lucky enough to go to college with Grantable CTO Robert, who introduced me to Philip. And now I'm here, and we've been crushing it ever since. I have a passion for AI, a passion for usability and accessibility, and really a big newfound passion for the grant world and all that it entails. No, it's that's going to be an ongoing problem, unfortunately. We'll just have to deal with our streaming software later. So for all the YouTube attendees, we'll send out a form that you can register with, and we'll send you the audio recording thereafter. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get that working today. Correct.
room for creativity, which I think is what you'll see. What we have are multiple subscription tiers. We can go over this a little bit more, but in general, we have our free, starter, and pro tiers, and then you can add seats to your teams in any of those tiers. If you pay annually, there's a discount, and then it's based on AI usage and kind of what kind of models and power that you have there. So depending on your grant program and how much you feel like you need, that's kind of how to choose the tiers. And then you can also bring folks along to expand your team. And then for those of you out there, if there are any grants agencies in attendance, we do have an enterprise solution that's increasingly popular that lets you bring together a bunch of workspaces for your clients and then gives you an overall dashboard that you can manage your team. We had some cost questions as well, which I relate to strongly, especially when I started a little nonprofit. So let's go into that. If you have the questions there, I mean, you can check out our pricing page, but check out go ahead and ask the questions if you're worried about affordability. And then we also had a question: can it work for all grant types? The answer is yes. And here are some of the main pain points. So like formatting stuff, we'll show you. Repetitive applications. I mean, that was pretty much the standard out there for years until now. So we'll show you how to make this almost fun. I don't know if working with Grantable on grants, it quite crosses the line into fun, but I think it sometimes does. So that's been our goal here, is like, can we make this fun again? Can we make applying for 10, 20, 30, 50 grants a year fun? So we will, I'll actually bring this slide back up.
Oh, Philip, I think we lost your connection for a second. Let's see. So we have the quick slide deck. Let's give him about 10, 15 seconds to see if his connection will restart. Otherwise, I can start sharing a video with you all showing the differences between Grantable and ChatGPT, one of our other most requested features. I think that might be the best move now. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing this video. Essentially, what we're going to showcase is how AI is used primarily to write grants today using ChatGPT or Claude, and the workflows that are most common. This is about a 3 to 4 times sped up video, but this is the most.
Hey, Evan, I'm back.
Oh, you are? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and share?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, go ahead and cue the video, and I can take it.
Okay, perfect. Here we go.
Okay, so folks, this is a real video of using ChatGPT to try to apply for grants. So what I'm doing here is I've uploaded the blank application and some prior applications, and I'm telling the chatbot, hey, let's work on this grant together. And it's kind of cool. It like goes ahead and like lays out this whole plan. But I'm basically like, hey, let's just start at question 1. And so it writes something here, and then, but I don't know what it's answering. So I had to ask it, hey, can you just show me the question text? Then I'm going back and checking to see if that's really the question text. Now it looks a little long to me. So what I'm doing is I'm pasting back into Google Docs and then using the Google Docs word count. And I'm sure you've all done this a million times. And sure enough, grant writer eyes, I'm like, oh, yep, it's about 100 characters too long, 125 characters too long. So I click back into GPT and I say, hey, can you please condense this to meet the 1,500 character count? And it says, yep, here you go. And of course, another round of back into here, copy, paste. Oh, hold on, Evan, will you pause it? Tatiana, you said, can we share your screen? Are you seeing? All right, cool. Sorry. Okay. So anyway, so I pasted back in now, and I'm going back and forth and measuring. And then I think what I just did was, yeah. So I'm pasting a new one in, and okay, it's still 50 characters over. So I'm like, hey, please make it 50 characters. And it's like, oh, yep. Sorry. Here you go. And I pasted in again. And this time, let's measure. Yeah, okay, so we're under the character limit. And so you can kind of see what just happened there. That was sped up 4 times. We thought about doing this live for you all, but it took about 5-6 minutes for me to do all that. Evan, I'm getting an infinity screen on yours. So we did it about, we tried to do it live, and it took about 6 minutes for me to do all that kind of stuff. And what we wanted to demonstrate was what many of you have experimented with AI probably already know, which is, when you work with a chatbot, it's kind of cool at first. It's almost mesmerizing when it starts, doing all the work for you really quickly. But when I used to use just the chatbot, I would have a Google Doc on the side, and then I'd have the chatbot up, and I'd be constantly switching back and forth, copy, paste. And a lot of times I find myself having to coax the AI to come back, like, hey, hold on. We've gone ahead too many steps. There was a thing that I sped up maybe too much in that video, where I actually asked the AI to focus only on one of the source materials that I uploaded. And it tells me, sure, okay, yeah, I'll do that. But I actually don't have any way to verify that it did that, because in a general chatbot, all of the different documents are actually fused together on the back end. So they're all considered as one giant block of text that the AI model is ingesting and interacting with you with. So in general, I think it probably did understand and utilize just that source document, but there's always a chance that other stuff creeps in, or it kind of makes a different choice there. So that's something that you'll want to pay attention to for later on in the demo. But I think overall, the message we want to convey here is that these are really powerful tools, but they're general purpose tools. They're really great for handling a huge variety of incoming. So when OpenAI, who makes ChatGPT, or Anthropic, who makes Claude, or Google, who makes Gemini, these companies are designing those tools to handle any kind of query, any kind of request, from making a recipe or creating an image. And they're usually not long projects, right? They're just quick hits, kind of like a Google search. What we found is that when we start to work on a complex project like a grant, sometimes you find yourself just kind of corralling or coaxing this kind of strange chatbot to come back and focus here, or don't focus there, or hey, don't go so far, come back. And then as the chats get longer, the response times get slower, and the error rates tend to go up. So that's kind of the situation now. And all these companies are working on making improvements, but this is the way the technology works fundamentally. So we need to figure out a different solution. We need to figure out a way to apply what these large language models can do in a very artful and strategic way to the work that grant professionals do. So that's kind of what we're going to show you today. So that's what Grantable really is. One metaphor I like to use is if you consider like light going through a prism, the general's chatbots are just like pure white light. They can do all these different kinds of things. They have so many different abilities, and you get all of them all at once when you interact with like a chatbot. But what we are doing in Grantable is we're trying to figure out how we can give you specific abilities at specific points in your workflow without you needing to chat and ask for these things, or to even know that you need to ask for these things. So that's kind of what we're gonna demonstrate now. You do have a chatbot, so like don't get me wrong. You can ask all those kind of cool open-ended questions to Grantable as well, and it's customized for each grant project. But what we want to show you is a really thoughtful way in which you can apply AI to your grants work. So with that, why don't we switch over to the portion here where Evan's going to drive a little bit, and I'll help narrate as well. But he's got some really cool demonstrations lined up with a real Grantable account.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to switch this over, and thank you all for dealing with our technical challenges at the moment. This is our first live stream, and we did not expect an attendee list this large. So very excited to have it all here. And let me unpin. Perfect. And then could we pin this screen, Rob? Yep, I actually got it for everyone. Okay, is that looking okay to everybody? Or maybe that pin is, let me remove this pin.
Your pin, your screen, Evan, is not your face. It's like a screen share, I think. But yeah, maybe that's fine.
I'm not going to be able to show my face, unfortunately. I mean, unless I can put the overlay on it, but that's...
don't worry about it.
We'll figure
don't worry about
later.
it. This is, we were expecting so many people. We added the live streaming at the last second to try to accommodate overflow. So thank you again for your patience. I echo Evan there. Evan, go for it. Take a breath. Let's do this. We've got the best part is coming right now, your part. So let's dive in.
You are too kind. Even better that my face isn't showing. So I am the man behind the curtain on the screen share. So essentially, I am showing you your Grantable workspace. So the best thing to do is we're really comparing what we just saw with Philip's video. He was showing how ChatGPT works, and that's really synonymous across all of the off-the-shelf AI clients. And what I'm going to show you now is how Grantable is purpose-built for grant workflows that we really all care about, especially on this call. So what I'm going to do is show you how we went through that same exact application, but using Grantable. Grantable is a really strong, powerful workspace to manage all of your grant materials, from tracking your grants and their statuses to going in and actually doing the work. We have a grants table that can track your source files, status, due dates, requested, funders, links, notes, etc. This is all included in your plan. You can use as much or as little of this as you'd like, and it only gets more powerful the more you add to it. We have collaboration features like commenting, where you can comment files back and forth and request documents from your team. We have the ability to track by and sort by status here. You can have thousands of grants depending on how large your organization is, and all of your files are saved here and parsed and processed for large language model use cases. Meaning, unlike Google Drive, you can search through every single file for a word you might want to remember. Philip reminds me all the time when he was back in his grant writing days trying to remember a name or a certain program or a certain project that was being worked on, and how difficult it was to surface that information. With Grantable, we make it as easy as possible. You can search through all of those documents. You can research, as in search again, once you've found something, and search within. And all of that is pre-parsed so that your AI can use it in the most powerful way possible. We also have a concept of an organization profile. So this is the enduring information that can decrease hallucinations dramatically, and the AI will come here first for finding the information that you want to have more prescient or not really kind of maintain it being unchanged. So this could be your EIN, your DBA name, your founding year, maybe your organization website. In this case, we have the Wikipedia for Parks and Rec. We have our recommended fields at the top. We also have your own custom fields. You can put in anything from revenue counts, mottos, to even your preferred waffle supplier. And all of these are up to you and your organization and its individual needs. So this could hold program statistics and really anything in between. Now, moving into the grant workspace itself, I'm going to start creating a grant from scratch. So this is our Paunchburger responsibility, if I can spell that right, fund grant. And this one, we're going to revitalize lot 48. If you remember from the show, that's where I think Andy might have broke his foot with a garden. Now I'm going to go ahead and upload my application. So this could be anything from an RFP to a NOFO to guidelines, requirements. This tells the AI that this document is your application. So I have my Paunchburger fund, and what you're going to see after once we begin to write, this was a PDF file. Our AI will process the PDF file for you, but it's not going to make up for the terrible formatting that funders tend to utilize, and I'll show you a perfect workflow to make up for that as you begin your writing. My next step is I'm going to add in my source material. So these are the files that I'm going to use to answer this grant. Of those files, I have information about the funder, and I have a prior grant and kind of block program grant details that I'm going to add in. So this is the Sweetums Foundation. You can see some information on this file, number of staff, mission and impact. Our AI is going to use this information to learn your writing style, its narratives, as well as be able to provide contextual information in the responses. Same thing.
Evan, can I call out something real quick?
Yeah, please.
So I just want to match up to where we were. The video I thought was, I made it too fast. So apologies earlier, but basically we're at the section where I just uploaded all of the files into ChatGPT in one blob. So already we have a layer of security here where Evan is telling the AI in Grantable, this is the application file and these are the sources that I'm using. Whereas in working with a chatbot, you really don't have, you don't have clarity, you don't have visibility into how it's handling the different files. So I just wanted to add that.
Perfect, thank you. So once I have the files uploaded, I'm going to continue to my project details. So these are the details that you can use to help manage your grant process. I'm going to set my status to active. This is going to be urgent for this call. Let's say the due date's at the end of the month, but my target date, I want to make it today. Let's get this grant done. I'm going to include myself as the lead, and then I'm going to add some members of my team that I want to be informed of this grant. And let's say we want to request, let's try $150,000, and we haven't been rewarded anything yet. And now I'm going to add a link. This is to Peacock TV, so we can all watch this together, right? Do we have enough time? But I'm moving back. So now I'm going to go ahead and create the grant project, and you'll start seeing Grantable do its magic. So here, it's telling you about your source material. It's showing you your setup progress. So if you didn't create the project, if you didn't add your application or source material, you can also do that from inside your grant project here. And to my right of the screen, you can see our Grantable AI assistant. So I'm going to just X out of our checklist because that's all completed. And now you can kind of see that, this formatting really isn't the greatest. And I'm just going to increase my window size. So unlike other applications, Grantable is primarily a writing interface. So I can go ahead and highlight this information and use one of our AI tools, which is our inline editor. And I'm going to put in a prompt to help clean this up. So in AI, I'm going to type in this prompt, clean up the formatting for readability. I'm going to go ahead and run that prompt here. Now you can see that it's outputting this same exact information in a clean interface that we can then use to make it human readable. And now I'm going to go ahead and just replace this selection. So that horribly formatted document.
Oh, so much better.
So much better. And now we can go ahead and start answering questions. So from
how many Well, not a real question. We should put a poll out there, but how many people have spent a lot of time deleting the little underline, underscore dashes where where the funder has just put in, yeah. So I think Jonathan's raising, yeah, exactly. So, it's not like we're writing these with a pen on a printed out sheet of paper anymore. So I don't know why the funders still add that stuff, but yeah, we all know it's still formatted that way with the blanks, and it can be a real hassle. So Evan just showed you how you can clean that up in Grantable.
Awesome, thank you. And now I can answer things on my own because this is a writing interface. So I can say, this is the Pawnee Parks and Rec. That might take a lot of time. I could also use this org profile piece that has the information already here for me. And I'll just do that for the EIN because that's a little annoying. Boom, here's my EIN. Or I could simply highlight this information and now use our next function, autocomplete, which will use my source material, the information we have in your account, and the question based off the application at hand, and just autocomplete with the information that the AI is able to surface. Oh, let's see. So it didn't, yep, here we go. So here's all the information it has for us at the moment, and I can go ahead and replace that. And then I could go in and manually edit as needed. Let's do a more powerful workflow, the executive summary. With a maximum 1,500 characters, let me go ahead and autocomplete this one. Let's see what happens. Now, our AI system is aware of the character count limits. It's going to show you them in your AI output. And instead of replacing this section, because I want to keep this question, the things that are highlighted, I'm going to hit insert below. Now, this is going to...
So,
oh, go ahead.
Let me link us back up to the video again. So in the video, I had to ask ChatGPT to please focus on the first question first. And so it did that, but it didn't show me what the first question was. It just outputted the answer. And so then I had to ask, hey, what question are we answering here? And it said, oh, here, it's the executive summary. And in this view, you're still on the page because the funder has created the application in a way that it has a lot of context for the person, the human, to understand where you are in the application. So we haven't had to do any page switching. We haven't had to do any copy pasting. And we didn't have to measure the word count, one, because it understood it and it held to it. But two, if you saw when it outputted, the word and character count was already there so you could see it. So we haven't had to do any of that. We've already eliminated maybe 3 or 4 of those back and forth switchings where I had to check where I was in the application and measure the character count. Thanks, Evan.
Yeah, of course, thank you. And then you could also highlight anything on your screen at any time and still receive those word and character count limits. And it's important to note our character count, like most funders, also includes spaces. And our AI is aware of that too in all of those answers. So I can be happy with this answer and continue my work. I could also highlight this information and use simple functions like shorten this, lengthen this, improve the writing, or I can write my own prompt. So I can say, mention more things about Leslie and how impactful she is on this project. So I can go ahead and reprompt, and that was by hitting the AI button while highlighting. Now it's a little too long. I can go ahead and hit shorten this. And perfect, that's the length I'm looking for, and it is mentioning Leslie a lot more. And I'm going to show you something else really powerful as well. So I just answered this question. I used autocomplete. I reprompted it to get more information. I made it shorter. And you might notice that we have this Pawnee Parks and Recreation Department or Development. This is a really long text. But you also can see here that I'm seeing an abbreviation, PPRD. This is a really powerful function of Grantable, and we call it our rules or our style guide. And one of the style guide rules that I'll show you here, and we can play around with these two if time allows, and that's this little filter button. I have one called the Pawnee Parks and Rec Department. And this one says, instead of saying all of that, if repetitive, refer to it as the PPRD. I can layer in as many of these stylistic rules and options as I would like as I'm growing and expanding, and these will live inside my account. Whether I use certain abbreviations, I want the AI to behave in a certain way, or even if I want it to output in a certain language. So if you want your answers to output in Italian, you can include those rules here and it will do so. And that's just one of the powerful functions that you can use to keep customizing and making Grantable even more powerful for you. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you one more workflow on, let's clean this up first. So let's go all the way down to this section. I'll put in my cleanup prompt, and you can type in anything you want, but I'm just going to say clean up the formatting for readability. And you can always play around with that formatting prompt. But here we go. It's going to output that clean format for me. Perfect. Let this run. I'm going to replace that selection. Oh, looks like I can't replace it right now, but let's discard that. Now let's try again really quick. Let's try clean up this formatting right here. That's kind of one of the advantages of having a writing space. If something goes awry, you can always go in and fix and retry. And it's one of the powers of Grantable. Okay, I think it might be that table that's causing some problems, but yep, perfect. So we have this new section here. I'm going to work on the project description, and instead of using the autocomplete button, I'm going to use the AI button here. Answer this in detail, use a table, use a bulleted list, mention Ron Swanson, and his love of Paunchburger. So kind of ways to refine your answers as you're writing them. So you can see a table's being formatted, a bulleted list is being included, and then we're mentioning Ron Swanson and leadership here. And you can see that character count is fairly large to match that 5,000 maximum. So I can go ahead and insert that below. Perfect, there's my response. Now that's one of the powerful ways of using Grantable, is using our inline editor. The other really extremely powerful method is using our assistant. And that's kind of that fun purple button. So it's a fun color for a reason. And I'm going to show you an advanced prompt that we put together just for this demo here. And I'm going to ask it a strategic question. Now, our assistant is context aware of your application, of all of the source material, and is pre-prompted and trained for grant writing use cases. So you can use it as a grant writing expert, kind of like you have your own consultant over your shoulder. Now I'm going to use this pretty advanced prompt here. It's going to analyze the application, decode their funding priorities, what do their language choices, character limits, and emphasis tell us about their values, identify 3 positioning angles that we want to use, recommend specific language for our summary. So I'm going to go ahead and see how this question is going to run here. And these are just one of the strategic options that you can utilize while you're working on your grant applications. Health conscious counterbalance, innovative placemaking, data-rich community laboratory. And now it's recommending the executive summary right in here. So this is all helpful. It's all this information that I could utilize. What if I want to edit it? To do so, I could copy it and paste it wherever I want in my application, or if I just want to start a new document, I can hit this Create New Document button. This is going to place the document inside my workspace, inside my editor. And you can see it created the new document for me here. I still have the application and I can switch back and forth. But now I have my decoded funding priorities right here. So that's a kind of an advanced workflow that you could utilize, and we highly recommend playing with strategic prompts that you could use to increase your efficiency in your workflow. Another advanced feature I'm going to show you, and let's see if I could find the right section. Let's go back to community engagement. Yep, let me fix the formatting here really quickly. And we're going to show a really advanced method of using what we call mermaid charts, unless Philip would like to bring up any other option.
I was just going to say, well, you can do that, but will you just show people how to switch source materials? So in the original ChatGPT demo, I had to tell it to focus on a particular source material, and that I had to kind of take it on faith that it was doing that. But one of the things that we've done for this demo is we have one source document that is like a community development block grant. So a really, really big grant application, probably for a public thing. You can see it's quite a bit longer. Maybe it's many different programs are getting funded. And then we had a small, maybe private foundation grant, which is much smaller and focused on one project. And so the use case here would be the big grant maybe is the sweeping, has all the information about your organization, whereas the small grant has deeper detail into a program that you're seeking funding for. So in ChatGPT, I had to say, hey, will you only draw from the Sweetums Foundation source material for this answer? In Grantable, when you click open the source drawer, if you just check or uncheck the sources that are in your source material tray, it will ignore or focus on the source based on that. So it's just simple as that, and you can keep doing it throughout your grant. So really sophisticated Grantable users will have all of the different sources that they want to use for a project. And you can always add more if you think of them and put them in there. And then as you're going through your grant and you want different levels of zoom or different levels of focus, or you want to combine elements from different applications, then you can really focus the AI onto different documents that are in your source materials. And that's a really, it's inspired by the way it actually work, right? So when we used to have all the different documents open in different tabs in our browser, and we know, oh, this is the answer I want from this proposal, and I would go to that tab, copy, paste, and bring it in, and then massage it into the new application. The inspiration, again, from the early part of our presentation here was, how can we use the abilities of AI and really artfully bring them into a grant professional's workflow? So that's just something I wanted to call out there. It's so subtle, but it's really, really powerful to help your application not sound surface level kind of ChatGPT, where it never, ever goes very deeply into anything. It just sort of, it answers it, but in a very generic way that people are starting to learn how to detect just when they read it, not with detectors, but like you can kind of, we're all starting to get this kind of, oh, that feels like it was written with AI. If you control your source material and do some specific prompting, you can really improve the quality and maintain that authenticity, that real grant writing that used to happen before with all humans. You can still create that effect using Grantable. So thanks again, Evan.
Yeah, of course. Well said. Can't say it better myself on the source material, but what I showed on the screen here is telling me about my source material. Our assistant picked up both of the source materials provided. Then I unchecked the larger document and just included the Sweetums Foundation and asked it again. And you could have that sanity check that really the AI was now just being fed off of that one source material document. So you can compare that to having to start a whole new project in ChatGPT or in Claude and re-uploading all the documents that you want and then providing all of the context again to do so. That's a 2, 3, 4, 5 minute process, whereas in Grantable it's a single click.
So yeah, really that's a good call out. The only way you can be sure would be to have different chat threads. So you'd have to have like your application and one source material document in one thread, and then your application and the other grant source material in another thread for them to truly be separate. So this is a lot more efficient for the way grant writing is actually done.
Yeah, and you saw how easy it was to answer one question or multiple. If I go ahead and just keep doing that, boom, our grant is complete. So the other thing I'm going to show is just another advanced use case of how we could use diagrams. So I have this little advanced prompt, but you can have a much simpler one. I'm just showing this to really set the scene here. And I'm going to start a new document with it. So this is that mermaid chart. A couple of the demo participants here, or people in the webinar, have, I think, seen this workflow before, but we're going to try this out live. Okay, so here's a flowchart code that was just generated here, and I'm just going to show you how this operates. So I will start a new document, a blank one on the side, and I'm going to show a Little Mermaid code block that we just created. I'm going to paste that code in here, and boom, here is the mermaid chart that was just created based off of that application and the information that's there. It's showing the Paunchburger investment, the Lot 48 flagship, and how they all connect right inside. Okay, I'm gonna pause for Q&A.
Yeah, let's do a little rapid fire here. We've got 4 minutes left, and so I'm gonna just start going down. So does Grantable have CRM options? I think we've gotten some answers in the chat to some of these questions. I think it's possible. We haven't had a ton of requests for that, but the insight there is that it's really quite a big lift when it comes to the big companies like Salesforce. You really have to show up to them with quite a bit of readiness. And so if we can demonstrate that there's a lot of demand for that feature, then we can certainly go after that stuff. So if you're interested, get in touch with us, and we'd love to sit down with you and learn more about how you'd want it to connect and what you'd want it to do. And then we can certainly move in that way. But that would be something maybe down the road a little bit.
Well, so I can mention one add-on there. So quite a few of our larger organizations, our agencies, consultants, and our enterprise, as well as our universities, they have fairly complex implementations in Monday and Salesforce and other project management tools, as well as funder databases. And what they tend to use Grantable for now, especially, is the writing, and being able to have Grantable be the source of truth for their grant answers and their writing. And it's as simple, the simplest integration so far is to either export the document and include that in the Salesforce area, or just copy the link to the Grantable tab that's there. As well as being able to use commenting, where you can link directly to your Salesforce items as needed. And we are, as Philip mentioned, actively looking into integrations that could be more powerful for those workflows.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. That makes a ton of sense. So as far as SharePoint, OneDrive, those are on the way. Google Drive was our first one, and we know that there's some others out there as well. So definitely look out for those. They'll be coming. Michelle Keast asks, how many different profiles can you have in an account? You can only have one. Or it's intended to only have one. And the reason why is really important is because when AI is starting to help with source material selection and grabbing different parts and fusing them together, you really don't want multiple organizations in one workspace. That's actually why we make it so that you can move between different Grantable workspaces really easily, but each one is separate. So this was originally developed for folks that maybe have a freelance grant consulting business, and they have many clients, and you want to make sure that you're keeping those clients separate, but at the same time, you don't have the headache of navigating through all their different shared drives. So one profile per, and that's because we need to start thinking about our data almost like a memory for an AI. So you don't want to mix different organizations' memories together. What is the difference between the AI output and the free version versus paid? The output is the same, it's the rate limit. So if you think about it like miles per hour, it costs us, like you could say in terms of gas or electricity, to go faster. And so for the free plans, we just hold you at a slower speed so you don't use as much AI in a given amount of time. But the output quality is the same. How well does it handle deliverables and help search for budget items? Really, really well. Deliverables, I would say perfectly. Really, it would be so thorough, and it would be a great use case for the AI assistant. And budget items, as long as you're not asking it to do math, like calculations, if you're asking it as a reference, that's really, really good. I know we're at time here. I'm going to keep going through, and feel free to hang with us for a little extra, but I just want to thank you if you do have to jump. And we will be sending out a special thank you gift for folks attending today's webinar and joining us live. We'll share the registration link again if you want to get that special gift and a recording of this session. So stay tuned for that. But if you're still here, I'll just burn through the rest of these questions really quickly. Do we upload the actual grant application to the site?
Well,
yes.
Philip, can I mention one thing really quick?
Sure.
So Grantable is essentially a combination of all of the top LLM models that exist today. That's Claude, ChatGPT, and potentially others. And we route your request to the best LLM or AI model that can handle it. So, for example, summarizations or strategic questions are handled much better with Claude's 4.0 Sonnet versus refining text and hitting character limits is much better in ChatGPT's 4.0 or mini model. So when you pay for one grantable plan, you're essentially getting pro plans for all of these other services with the idea that you have AI grant experts that are kind of routing and moderating that information to the right best source.
That's a really good point. Thank you for that clarification. I'm going to jump back in for Jacqueline's question. Do you upload the grant to the actual site? Yes. If the funder gives you the grant application as a PDF or docx, that's the easiest way. Just upload it to Grantable and it will appear on the page just like in any word processor. But if it's a copy paste situation from the grant portal, you just start a blank document and then copy and paste the questions in like we do with Google Docs or Microsoft Word. Another budget question here, direct, indirect costs. If you're talking about a budget in a spreadsheet, it's a little trickier. If it's a budget in text or a narrative format, it's really good. But I always try to coach people to make sure that these language models are not calculators. They operate pretty differently. So for relatively simple math, they're pretty good. But the more steps and the more complexity and the more kind of implications that you're asking them to go through, then I really don't recommend that people do that. I still recommend that you do the calculations in a spreadsheet or manually, and then add that in for the language model to help you with. You can ask the language model how to calculate these different things and lay it out step by step. That's a really interesting way to just give yourself a leg up. What if you have a lot of source documents, dozens and dozens of past applications, you're not certain where you previously wrote about the topic? Yes. So one of the things we are working on making more and more recommendations. So we call that content intelligence. So we'll have some really interesting stuff to show in the next few weeks here on that, Tom. But one of the things that Evan demonstrated briefly was the powerful search that we have, where the situation for most grant professionals is, hey, I know I wrote this answer, or I know there's an application that I really want to use here. I don't remember what it was called or where I put it, but I do remember a particular word or phrase that I used, and only there. So you could turn on or open up the search feature in Grantable and type in that keyword, and I think you'd probably find the document instantly because it'll search every single piece of content in real time. I'm not understanding how we humanize the output. Okay, so when I was talking about that earlier, it's really not about doing anything to humanize it. My point was, when you make a lot of different decisions, when you make a lot of editorial choices, like, I want this to be a particular length, or I want it to use this source material, or I want it to focus on this program, all of those different decisions, along with any manual editing that you do, will result in a really human, really organic grant application because you're still using your judgment. The problems come up when you just have the AI generate the whole thing, and it never goes very deep. It never goes in depth, and it sort of shades all of the language in sort of an AI-ish way. But if you're telling the AI, hey, go deeper here, focus here, shorten this, and then also using your own, your own keystrokes to change different words and edit manually, then you're really doing what is very similar to the original way that grant writers used to work on things before AI. Prompt guidelines instead of commonly used practical prompts. Lakshmi, I'm going to give you a tip here. One of the things you can do with the AI assistant in Grantable, the thing on the side with the purple button, is you could say, hey, how would I prompt you to do X? Or how would I prompt you to do Y? And let it tell you what would be a great prompt to do, to use in different situations. And then you can either say, okay, hey, do that, or you can copy and paste the suggestion and modify it and have it do that for you. Any comment on Grantable versus instrumental AI function besides the price? Well, the price is not nothing, right? I would say that instrumental started as and is still a grant prospecting database that is trying to move into the AI space. We started in the AI space before even ChatGPT was launched, and we've really been focused there. So I think it's kind of like, where is each company focusing its brain power and its energy and its creative design. So I would say the price, and that we were always focused on making the writing experience as easy and as flexible as possible. So I don't know beyond that, but that's kind of the situation as I see it. Can Grantable create logic models? Yes, it can. Just I think you could do it on the page with the inline, or you could ask it to do that in the assistant. And then, as Evan showed, you could create a document. So once you have the logic model, you can have it there as another resource in your project. Certain grant applications are in Excel. Can we load XLS into what I would do there is I would actually convert the Excel into perhaps a PDF or a Word document. Excel is going to be a little bit funky right now. I know our CTO is on right now. We're working on this. What I'll say is we do want to handle spreadsheets, but just because spreadsheets imply a certain logic in terms of their grids and their rows and columns, but people use them in very different ways. So one of the things that gets a little tricky is when you have the AI looking at what is in one sense a very structured document, and in another sense, people use it in a very different way. Sometimes it can make some weird connections that end up being really difficult for people to disentangle. So if you can put it into another format like Word or a PDF, where it kind of flattens that and it just becomes more of a document, like a table, then you can definitely work with that in Grantable. Either that or just copy and paste certain cells into that you want into the document, and that'll be probably the best way to do that. So that looks like the end of the Q&A. And so we're just a little over time. So thanks to the folks that stayed with us. Thanks to all of you for joining our very first live webinar. And it's been a lot of fun. And we are going to work on all these little technical bugs and prepare for bigger crowds. We weren't really expecting so many of you to be joining us. So it's a great problem to have. But on behalf of our whole team, Evan, Robert, Marie, and myself, we are really, really excited about the direction that this company is taking. We have grown recently, so you're going to see a lot of amazing features coming out in the next few weeks and months. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about all those things in our newsletters, in future webinars. We're going to try to do these pretty regularly. So we'll come out, we'll give you the basic overviews, and then we're going to have deep dives into new features and things that are really exciting. So please don't be a stranger. Feel free to get in touch with us at hello@grantable.co. We're always eager to hear from you all. Sign up for different demos or reach out to us for a conversation. Try it out and look out for that special gift that will be